Have you ever thought that those Minecraft civilization videos that pop up on your recommended seem a bit too easy? Were they really uniting together and building their nations to survive? Or did they really just want to roleplay diplomacy? Well, what if there was a server with no script and no guarantee of survival? Well, would civilization still form? This is event 3 of the Shot Rush Civ Labs experiment, Minecraft's hardest civilization server. I spawn in as the sun is setting. I know what that means, and immediately book it to the nearest tree, climbing up it for protection. You see, in this server, you can't just punch some dirt and make a little first night hut to protect yourself. No, the server's plugin makes it so that mobs now become walking bundles of terror. They don't just chase you, they sprint, destroying all blocks in their path and doing insane levels of damage, 4 times normal during the day, and 10 times at night. In other words, be fucking scared. When morning comes, I begin searching for people. I stumble across a few sheep, which I kill, and receive 3 wool, enough to make a bed. Just like in regular Minecraft, beds set your spawn. However, the plugin makes it so that every bed can only have 1 owner. That makes them fairly valuable in the early game, as if you were to die without one, you get sent straight to spawn. And coordinates are not allowed, making the only ways to navigate a map or just a good old-fashioned sun. Finally, I find a large group of people hunkered down in a skybase, which I joined for a bit. But seeking to get away from spawn and find new lands, we all hop into boats and row ourselves down the river. After crossing a large ocean, we stumble across a huge sheer cliff, with a few people below, setting up a base of their own. The large migrant group stops here for a bit, but many end up making the decision to leave, although some stay behind. I was one of those who decided to leave. But first, I need to collect my bed. When it breaks, this guy picks it up, Radiant Flicker. I ask for it back, but he says he'll just give it to me when we reach our destination. I say okay, but in my mind, I knew he wouldn't give it back. We all get back into boats and sail away, further and further from spawn, until eventually we hit some new land. Some people ask to go further, but most think that this is plenty far enough. As most of us understood the severity of night, we began to gather as many resources as we could and construct a sky base for us to spend the night. I ask Radiant Flicker for the bed, but he says he'd already placed it down. Trying to claim it, however, fails. I thought as much. I'm just going to have to be extra careful to survive, or else be sent back to spawn. And as night falls, we once again hunker down high above the ground, surrounded in dirt walls. And although it may not look like much now, don't judge us so early. But we aren't there just yet. During the night, we decide to make a job board where people could write down their intent to pursue a specific class. You see, there are 7 classes in the plugin, each having a specific role for the civilization, and are largely self-explanatory. Farmers are the only players who can harvest crops. Miners are the only ones who can obtain ores. Builders build mob-proof brick structures. Blacksmiths can craft tools and armor. Guardsmen get buffs for fighting mobs. Librarians are able to enchant. And healers heal away damage. Oh yeah, did I mention that? There's no natural regeneration. The only way to heal is either a healer using a bandage on you, or eating a piece of blessed food blessed by a healer. You can earn experience towards these roles by performing the job. However, you lose all experience on death. That keeps the stakes high despite the infinite lives. What did I pick? Builder. Last event, I was a guardsman, and I realized I'm not that good at 1.9 PvP. I also forgot that I like building things in Minecraft. Don't ask me how I forgot that. When I died last event, I lost all my levels, so I decided to become a builder. Anyways, back to our budding civilization. By the second session, we'd already made major progress. We'd expanded our farm to a size that could keep us all fed, no longer having to rely on scraps of food from fishing. The builders and I were also making steady progress on securing an area safe from mobs, building walls and floors of stone brick. The miners too brought back their first batch of iron ore. With all this, we decided that our new nation needed a name. Some suggested that our name should contain the word iron, to commemorate that first bit of iron mined, as well as to manifest future wealth. After a vote, we settled on the name Ironport. I actually really didn't like the name. It felt a bit too boring for me, but that's just democracy. And speaking of politics, we also needed a leader. Actually, we collectively decided that we'd have 3 leaders. This was so that they could keep each other's power in check, but also so that we'd always have a leader around in case one was offline or out of the base. For 3 leadership positions, 4 people stepped up as candidates. The first to speak was Timeless Slumber. So far, he'd been a builder like me. We'd started building this house on the ground. He hadn't really spoken much so far, especially compared to the other candidates. The next person at the podium was Drowned Slumber. He'd been the second loudest voice so far, trying to keep the group organized. He was also the group's only healer. To me, he seemed like the voice of reason amongst the chaos. Next up was Willowy Chasm, a farmer who just recently fixed his mic. Although not the most outspoken, he seemed cheery and charismatic. Last of the stage was Radiant Flicker. He'd been the group's blacksmith, a position he'd declared for himself being the loudest voice in the group. I'd had a bad feeling about him since day one when he'd stolen my bed, and nothing further had occurred to change my mind. To me, he seemed like he'd soon be the voice of chaos amongst the chaos. I also want to mention these weird two-word names that everyone seems to have. In this server, every player is given a new anonymized name, which is not allowed to be shared in any external chats like Discord. This ensures that every player is equal, you can't carry over your clout, and you're absolutely not allowed to collaborate with anyone outside the game. That meant we had no way of knowing what else was going on outside our little corner of the world. The name I received was Infinite Sky, which I thought sounded pretty cool. Definitely a lot better than something like Smelly Moon. Finally, it came time to vote. Each one of us lined up to cast a single vote towards the candidate we didn't want to elect. When it came time for my turn, I made my decision easily. When the voting concluded, Timeless Slumber had the most votes, which elected the other three. At first, I was disappointed by the outcome, but later that day, I had an interaction with him that slightly changed my mind. In the house that he'd made, which we dubbed the Commune and housed everyone's beds, Timeless had set up a personal chest. At the same time, I happened to walk in and instinctively opened that chest. His response seemed a bit rude for what I admitted was a genuine mistake, although I did feel like having a personal chest seemed fundamentally at odds with the ideals of a selfless leader, especially when the nation was still struggling for resources. In subsequent sessions, I learned that Timeless had left our nation and joined another, and I wasn't particularly bothered. After the election, the other builders, Crimson Cinder and Obsidian Sky, and I continued to work on the walls. I also began the construction of the main base, which would start against the wall, right beneath the sky base. However, once I reached a certain height, it collided with the sky base. I hesitated to tear it down, so I just had the walls merge into the flat dirt floor, giving it this strange but oddly pleasant look, like it was bracing against this messy jumble of blocks. Though this wouldn't last too long as I began replacing the various rooms of the skybase, giving them a more structured and visually organized look, but still keeping the original shape. A great example was the meeting room, which went from this to this. While I was cooped up at home, various people in our nation journeyed out in search of other civilizations. At the same time, members of other nations would occasionally show up at our front door. One day, after an expedition of one of our members, we learned of a nation called Venus. Apparently they were the remnants of the people we left behind on the first day at that huge cliff, or so we thought, as they actually turned out to be an entirely separate group which decided to settle that cliff after the original settler had all died out. Those original people were called Venice, and so this new group decided to call themselves Venus. Later on in the sessions, Radiant Flicker comes back to base. He and a few other guardsmen ventured to Venus, and what they found worried them. Immediately, he called the entire nation to a meeting to show us what he'd discovered. Melons. Well, not just any melons. Level 5 blessed melons. You see, eating blessed food heals you, a bit like a golden apple. Level 5 meant that it was blessed by a level 5 healer, which was absurd since most people were only around level 2 in their respective classes. It gave much stronger buffs compared to lower level blessed food, the difference being quite substantial. If a group decided to go to war armed with this food, they would have a significant advantage. Worried about the threat they faced, Radiant Flicker urged us to strike first, before Venus had any chance to stockpile the food and use it to dominate their neighbors. However, Drowned Slumber spoke up. He believed a war was completely unnecessary. Venus had not once been hostile to us. There was no reason to believe that there would be an attack coming our way. Besides, he could reach level 3 or 4 soon, creating blessed food of a comparable level. Additionally, most of our players were already geared in full iron, a result of diligent efforts with miners. Along with numbers, we could still have the upper hand if it came down to a fight. In the end, they couldn't agree, and so it went up for a vote. Peace or combat. Once again, we all lined up to cast our vote. My choice again was easy. I was a builder, and if there was one thing I wanted, it was to prevent everything we built so far to be destroyed. All the goodwill we'd earned from those who'd visited us would be replaced with mistrust. It wouldn't be long until the entire server was against us. I voted for peace. The vote wasn't particularly close. Radiant Flicker's fear-mongering failed. We voted for peace. Following the vote, Radiant Flicker disappeared for a while. In his absence, Drowned Slumber took the reins, working to establish Ironport as neutral and not hostile. And it's working, as we develop relations with various civilizations around us. Now, a few visitors were being given a tour of the base, while I worked on my latest project, a windmill, which I built in my last civilization.
It's gonna be a windmill.
My compliments.
Thank you.
Hold on. That
Oh.
voice.
Yeah, what's up?
Is that? Oh, I know who that is. Okay. Hello. How's it going? You might recognize this build.
In a crazy coincidence, it was another member of my civilization from the last event, Obsidian Abyss. It seemed that he was from Troy, a civilization to our north. He had been visiting alongside members of Venice, who'd settled in the ocean to our east. We caught up for a bit, and then they headed on their way. Later on, Drown dies unexpectedly. At the same time, Radiant returns. Upon Drown's death and Radiant's return, the situation quickly escalates. Radiant claims that without a healer, our nation would collapse, and to save us all, we'd need to kidnap a healer from another nation and force them to work for us. This was despite the fact that we'd already stockpiled tons of blessed food, which could also heal us. Additionally, we'd recently recruited a second healer, Lovely Frost, a former member of Troy who'd left their disorganized nation to join ours. Soon after, Radiant left with a few guards, leaving us without any leaders. Drown should have respawned by now, but he hadn't shown up yet. Somehow, his bed must have been obstructed, and we'd all concluded that he'd probably been sent to spawn. Upon learning this, I asked if anyone would be willing to bring him back, but no one seemed up to it. If Drown was gone, there would be no one to stop Radiant Flicker from turning us into a nation of war, and so I decided I'd go. If I died out there, I'd lose all my builder levels, but for peace, it was a risk I had to take, and so I hopped on a happy gas, grabbing a few other people, and flew east towards spawn. Without coordinates, we couldn't be sure exactly where he'd be, and if you'd wandered off in the wrong direction, we may not have been able to find him at all, but with a stroke of luck,
Realizing he died.
Hello.
Oh my god, here.
Hey.
we found him and escorted him as fast as we could back to Ironport. We could only hope that Radiant hadn't yet started a war, and at the same time we arrived back, Radiant and his group does as well.
Alright.
I got kidnapped.
They'd kidnapped a healer from Venice, who also happened to be their leader, Serene Breeze. Drown was furious and ordered Radiant to take him back. He eventually caved and asked another member to take him back. He also asked me to make a prison in our basement. I'm not sure what for, but I go along with it. All I could think was that we were lucky we hadn't made any enemies yet, although enemy nations weren't the only things to look out for.
Ooh, thank you.
No problem. Infinite sky.
But wait, this guy wasn't even one of ours. He'd just taken a full set of diamond armor by just pretending to fit in. It was the perfect crime. But while leaving, one of our guardsmen, Whirling Vortex, ran into him.
Evan, apparently you gave someone like a bunch of iron armor sets and diamond armor. Right, so this ain't so good. Cause me and Whirling Vortex were we met this guy with diamond armor. He didn't believe him, so he just absolutely took him out right there and then, because we didn't believe that you'd given away diamond armor to some randoms.
Upon his death, he dropped a few stolen sets of iron armor and a book. It was titled Evil Diaries, explaining all of his misdeeds in great detail. And although he stole from us, you gotta admire his nerve. We honestly had too many visitors. In particular, we had many people from Venus come over, as they were settled closest. When Radiant grabbed those melons, none of us thought much of it, but Venus was pissed, and for some reason, they blamed Venice, so they marched over there to ask around, and ended up massacring them. This incident caused Venus to split in two, with one half leaving to form a slate. Led by Timeless Slumber, a war had been fought over our actions. But to prevent any further war, we had to stay silent. Other nations too were falling apart. The members of Troy had been absorbed by Venice, as well as Urieville to our east, while other groups were struggling with low player counts as the days passed. In all of this, we were still feeling pretty strong, with many players who'd all reached high levels. But strength alone doesn't keep you safe. After the incident with Secret Caverns stealing from our chests, we realized we needed better security, so I designed a redstone door system that required a specific code to enter, a named piece of paper that would pass through an item filter. Pause here if you want to copy the design. We installed 3 gates around the base, including one right in front of our nether portal. Speaking of the nether, we were approached by Sunset Outpost, one of the largest nations, far to our north. They proposed something ambitious, a nether highway system connecting all civilizations on the server. We agreed, hoping the project could help unite the server, and so construction began. At the same time, I focused on making Ironport actually look like a proper nation. I built a bridge and a port area, finally bringing the port in Ironport. And lastly, I completed the main castle, topped with a happy gas skyport. If you like this build, skip ahead about 5 seconds, because I'm about to complain. This 4-block gap ruined my life. It's literally everywhere, and when you see it, you can't unsee it. You see, I usually build very geometric or regular shapes, but this castle required organic, uneven walls, and I actually had to build an interior that people would use. It was completely outside my comfort zone, but I think it turned out alright. After the kidnapping incident, Radiant Flicker had disappeared again. Days passed and sessions went by. It seemed like he wasn't logging on. With one of our 3 leaders essentially gone, we had to make a decision. We called a vote. Should Radiant Flicker be removed from power? I think we all knew how this would end. People had seen the progress we'd made, not by making war, but by preventing it. Not a single person voted to keep him. It was unanimous. So now, we needed a new leader. And once again, 4 candidates stepped forward. First was Whirling Vortex. He'd been a guardsman. Actually, he was the one who caught Secret Cavern stealing from us. But recently, he'd switched to blacksmith, since our previous 2 hadn't been showing up recently. Next was Lovely Frost, our second healer. She left the chaos of Troy to join our more organized nation, and had been nothing but helpful since arriving. Third was Fractured Frog, our only librarian. He was probably the most well-traveled person in Ironport, constantly visiting other nations and building diplomatic relationships. And finally, Rushing Wind, a random monkey who'd showed up recently and been given a job as guardsman. Honestly, I'm not sure why he ran, but hey, democracy. When it came time to vote, I had concerns. Whirling Vortex was a former guardsman, just like Radiant had been. What if he also pushed for war? The other candidates seemed solid, but I cast my vote for Lovely Frost. When the results came in, Lovely Frost had won. Now, with the Radiant Flicker gone, Ironport felt more stable than ever. We had leaders who truly cared for the nation and didn't just act on their whims. Then one day, we received troubling news. Slate had been attacked, and the attackers, they came to our door themselves to tell us what they'd done.
We just invaded Venus 2, and wanted to clear up that we're not gonna invade you or anything. Oh yeah. Hello.
Yeah, we're from Cherry Top.
It was Cherry Top, another major nation in our world. Or so they claimed to be. The survivors from Slate took revenge with us, and eventually merged back with Venus, forming a new nation, Atrov. Around this time, a new problem emerged, Dappled Void. He seemed to be a member of Vegas, who we'd been friendly with. He'd come by occasionally to use our zombie pigman farm in the Nether, but he was suspicious. He'd carried TNT everywhere, though he always promised he wouldn't use it. When he visited Atrov, they were even more paranoid than we were.
It's like Dappled Void or something? Well, he came to our empire with TNT, mega suspicious, started looking through all our chests and searching the people. So we told him, hey, you should leave, because you're, being suspicious as hell, right? And he kept on, going around, so we gave him one last call, and it's like, dude, don't go into the manor. And he went into the manor, so we killed him, and we're fairly certain, based on the stuff he was planning on doing something.
They killed him, and Dappled Void came back for revenge, slaughtering the members of Atrov, along with numerous other crimes.
Dappled Void basically attacked other people from Troy, tried to light them on fire after he gave some. Anyways, he was causing mischief, and he's also saying he's from Ironport. So that's KOS now. All right.
Yeah. In response, he blew up the nether side of our portal. So Dappled Void became priority number 1 on our kill list, but he wasn't our biggest problem.
Forward to Ironport.
This guy, leave the dab. Get him.
Venice crushed Cherry Top, doing it all under Ironport's name. Feeling confident, they decided to continue their march straight towards us. But we got lucky. One of our members happened to be with them and heard their plans. With this intel, we came up with a plan. Cherry Top was extremely far from us, but they were connected to our nether highway, which meant Venice would probably use our nether portal to reach us. And we controlled that portal. I got to work reinforcing the area around our nether portal, using the ability of builders. Then we waited, one by one. We watched them pour through.
How's that? Oh, shit, they're coming. Who's that?
Who's that?
Where are you?
Where are you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, kill him. He's coming up. Kill him.
Oh, they're coming.
They're coming.
W mob farm. One down. One down. 2 people dead.
2 people dead? Holy shit. Another one.
There's more.
Kill him. Keep killing him.
Defend.
W mob farm, W mob farm.
Go back! Run! It's a bad idea!
Glory to Iron Parts. Devil Void's there! Devil Void's there!
What the fuck?
Those who were with the Venice Raiders was Dappled Void, Serene Breeze, and even Obsidian Abyss. It was a massacre. They didn't lose their items. Those fell back through to the other side of the netherworld, but they lost them in their experience. All of those guardsman levels gone. And with that, we'd successfully defended our home. Venice was no longer a threat. Later that session, Obsidian Abyss came back, alone this time. He snuck around our base and broke our redstone door, but he got caught, and when our guards confronted him, he dropped my name, told them we were friends. So they brought me to him and asked what they should do. I looked at him. This person I'd fought alongside before, who was now breaking into our home, who just attacked us with Venice. I sighed.
I can't do anything for you. You brought this on yourself.
He had it coming. And that was that. With Venice crushed and Dappled Void quiet, Ironport had no enemies. We'd won, or so we thought. New intelligence started coming in, multiple sources, all saying the same thing. Cherrytop was planning a raid on us. They wanted revenge for Venice's attack that we'd been falsely credited for. Then, while no one was watching, the shields were a giveaway. It was Cherrytop. It wouldn't be long until the full army was at our doorstep. After all, they'd raided others before. Then we entered the post-meta game, the final 4 sessions, where some of the normal rules were lifted. We could finally communicate outside of the game. It was supposed to be a celebration, a way to enjoy the world without worrying about politics and war. Instead, it was an invitation to throw away everything they'd built for violence. With everyone talking in Discord now, we decided to act first. We sent a strike force to Cherrytop and burned their nation to the ground. Shortly after, a few members from Cherrytop came to meet with us, and they told us the truth. They'd never planned to raid us. They'd been entirely peaceful. The intelligence, the warnings, supposed raid plans, all of it had been a false flag, orchestrated by the remnants of Venice. When Slate was attacked, it was them. When Cherrytop was attacked, it was them again. They then attacked us, but failed. They then spread rumors that Cherrytop wanted revenge, and sent in a few raiders with stolen shields. They manipulated us into crushing a peaceful nation, and we'd fallen for it every step of the way. Serene Breeze. Though our nation hadn't fallen, in a way, we'd lost. We'd abandoned our ideals as a peaceful nation. We'd given in to violence. The Cherrytop members told us they understood our perspective. They didn't want revenge. They just wanted us to know the truth. And that was the last threat we'd face. And so, with the server essentially at peace, we wanted to do something symbolic. We'd travel to every remaining civilization and gift them a pillar, a monument to the peace we'd achieved together. We flew to Vegas first, and we were immediately attacked. But here's the thing, by this point, our armor was so powerful that even as just 2 builders and a healer, we were taking like no damage. And so they fled, neither of us being able to take the other out. The lifting of the metagame rule had turned the server into chaos. People who'd spent weeks building their nations were now just griefing for fun. The event was in a way already over. We boated back to Ironport, waiting for the end. All sorts of people came seeking refuge within our walls during those final days. Sunset Outpost members, Atrov refugees, and even former enemies. And one day, Timeless Slumber returned. The leader we'd voted out day 1, who'd left our nation and joined Slate, who'd been rejected everywhere else he'd tried to go. He built a small shack right outside our gate, and you know what? I walked out there, and I gave him something. A chest, his very own personal chest. During these final sessions, I completed one last bit, a massive ship, sailing the flag of Ironport. On the second to last session, we all gathered for a game of Spleef, just for fun, no stakes, no politics, just people playing Minecraft together one last time. I played against Crimson Cinder, one of the other builders, and I won, by the way. Afterwards, we all agreed on something. This was the best ending, right here, this moment. We decided we wouldn't log on for the final session. The last few sessions had been exhausting, constantly worrying about attacks that never came, watching other players turn to chaos. This was the good ending. Ironport never fell. We were just choosing to stop, and everyone agreed, but the next day, I logged on one more time. I climbed up to the top of the ship, took out a book and quill, and wrote, wrote, "Hello, thought I'd leave a little note in a slightly hidden location. I wanted to say how much fun it was to play in this event. Compared to last event, y'all were so incompetent, it didn't even feel like the same game. Going in, all I wanted to do was build cool things and put our name on the map. I realized this wouldn't have been possible without the entire civilization doing their jobs in perfect sync. Miners giving me blocks to build with, farmers providing me food for not starving while building, blacksmiths for making the tools to break my mistakes, healers to heal my fall damage, guardsmen to defend all of us and my builds from being burnt to the ground, and librarians for being cool, I guess. None of it would have been possible without all of you. And my last wish was for all of it to survive till the end, and for people to remember us by the cool shit we did. Thanks for being there." So did it work? Could a bunch of strangers with completely separate aspirations build something amazing together? Yeah.